Welcome back. This is Mr. Hassan's Maths channel. I'm now answering question number 9 from this IGCSE Cambridge paper 2 variant 1 extended 0580 from May-June 2021. This question here is about coordinate geometry. Here we've told that there's a point A which has coordinates 5, -5 and B which have coordinates 9, 3. We've got to find the coordinates of the midpoint of AB. So basically what we have to do is, it's very simple. We have to just find the average of the x coordinates and the average of the y coordinates. The midpoint is always the sum of the x coordinates divided by 2. That gives you the average of the x coordinates, and the sum of the y coordinates divided by 2. That gives you the midpoint for the y coordinates, and you end up with the midpoint of these 2 points. Okay, so if you want to understand it by how it looks, you could see you have your x and y axes. You have 5 -5, which would be something like over here. That's 5 and -5. That's to be the point A. And the point B would be 9, 3, somewhere over here. Okay, just a rough sketch here. That's 9 and 3. Okay, that's the point B. And we got to find what's exactly halfway between them. Okay, so halfway between them, it's like the average of the x coordinates. So that's 9 and that's 3. I'm talking about. So it's going to be the average of the x coordinates, which is basically halfway between 5 and 9, and then halfway between -5 and 3, and that will give you the midpoint. So basically all we do is we add the x coordinates together. So 5 plus 9 divided by 2, and the y coordinates together, -5 plus 3 divided by 2. So that gives you 14 over 2, which is 7, and -2 over 2, which is -1. And there's the answer to part A. Very simple. To find the midpoint, you add the x coordinates divided by 2, add the y coordinates divided by 2. Common mistake is that people subtract the coordinates and divide by 2 because they're just used to subtracting, finding the gradients and finding the length. They use subtraction, and they just do the same thing here. No, we're finding the average of these coordinates. Halfway between 5 and 9 is like the average of 5 and 9, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, so that's 7 and -1. That would be the midpoint. Okay, now for part B, it says find the length of AB. And when we're finding the length of this line, we're basically using Pythagoras Theorem. So there's a formula which I'm going to show you, but just for you to understand, it's basically based on making a right angle triangle from these 2 points. Okay, this is a right angle triangle, and these are the 2 shorter sides. So the difference between 9 and 5 is 4. That's the length here. And the difference between -5 and 3 is 8. So we're trying to find the length AB. So we're using Pythagoras Theorem. It's going to be 8 squared plus 4 squared. So drawing a diagram helps you see what's going on. But you don't need to draw a diagram if you understand. And you can just use the formula. But it's always good to understand where the formula comes from. This formula comes from this formula xa minus xb squared plus ya minus yb squared. This formula comes from Pythagoras Theorem. So here we have 9 minus 5. That gives you your 4. And then you have 3, or you can say -5 minus 3, which gives you your -8. When you square it, you're going to get plus 64 anyway. That's going to give you the square root of, as we said, it's going to be 9 minus 5. All squared. That gives you 4 squared, plus, and you have -5 minus 3 all squared, and that's going to give you -8 squared, which gives you positive 64 anyway. So that's going to give you 9 minus 5, which is 4 squared, plus, and that's -8 squared, which is going to give you 64. So that's the square root of 16 plus 64. That's 80. The square root of 80, and we can work out what the square root of 80. So the square root of 80 gives us 8.944. 8.944 goes on like that. We need to round it to 3SF, so we write 8.94 as your final answer. That's the answer to question number 9, part A and B. Okay, so we're using Pythagoras Theorem for part B. Even if you don't realize it, if you just memorize the formula, that's what we're doing. That's what the formula is based on. And here we're using the average of the x and y coordinates to find the midpoint. Okay, so memorizing the formulas is all well and good, but understanding them is actually what will help you to, you know, even answer questions which might be a bit more challenging. If you understand what you're doing, it's far better. Okay, so there's question number 9. As I said, I'm answering each question individually so that I can save the questions according to 2 playlists. One will be a playlist with all the other questions from this paper, and the other playlist will be the playlist which is from this particular topic. So if you want to find other questions from this paper that I've answered, you'll find them in the playlist. That the link will appear somewhere over here at the end of the video. Other questions from this topic of coordinate geometry, straight line graphs, can be found in the playlist that will be appearing somewhere in this region over here. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking on this link. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.